everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. It's Gabrielle B. This is a story time. Actually, it's two stories put in one. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get into this, so grab your popcorn because it's gonna get juicy. Okay, so I'm gonna change all the names. I'm not gonna put where this was, but let's begin. So honestly, since we're going back to school, it's kind of a warning, I guess you could say, because people are crazy. This took place at the college I went to. I'll just say that. So there's two stories. They don't really coerce with each other, but they're the same like situation. That's why I put it in this. So the first story, I planned all my classes for the morning time. This all took place my freshman year, first semester of college, okay? I want to preface that because if you know, your first semester is usually the months of August to December, and during those months it starts getting dark earlier than it does during the summertime. So I just need y'all to remember that while I'm telling you this. So I planned all my classes for the morning-ish times, and the reason why is because I just didn't want to be walking back late from class to my dorm, and my dorm was on the other side of campus, so I didn't want to like worry about the fact that I could possibly be walking back late and it get dark and I'm just walking in the dark, because to be honest, our campus wasn't lit up in the dark as much as it should have been because it's a huge campus. But hey, they did have other forms of like security, and I'll get to that later. I planned on my classes for early in the morning, and I was having a good time, doing well in my classes. Now, there's the math class that I was taking. I had to go to a math lab. It was like a lab in the library upstairs. I had to have a certain amount of hours done a week in order, like, and it was for a grade. And basically when you went there, you checked in with your ID, you scanned it to like check in, and then you scan check out, and they would like base that on how many hours you were there, and you have to accumulate your hours for the week. If not, you get a 0 for the week. That's 10-point grade. It wasn't much, but definitely you needed those points. So that's why I tried to do it. Basically in the math lab, it was very strict, okay? That was like the strictest place on campus, to be honest. You could not have your phone out. You could only be doing math in there. Nothing else. If they caught you doing any other subject, you got kicked out for the day. You couldn't be loud. You couldn't talk at all. Honestly, the only time you could talk was if you asked one of the tutors that were upperclassmen for help. And you couldn't do nothing. I mean, you better do next week's work, because you could not sit there and just do nothing or draw or fiddle, because they were constantly walking around, making sure you were doing something at all times. And if you were caught, you got taken out for the day. Or if you did something even worse, you could get banned for the week and just automatically get a 0. And of course, you know, yada, 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 can get worse and worse. You couldn't eat in there, nothing. So I kind of dreaded it. I know a lot of people did too, because that's what everyone talks about. I'm just complaining about the lab at this point. The lab closed about 8. And so therefore, you couldn't really just hope that if you went in at 3, exactly 3, that you would get out at 8, because even if you were 1 minute off, honey, with your time, if you had 4 hours and 59 minutes and not them 5 hours, that was it. Still a 0. It was a 0 or a 10. It was not anything between. So anyway, basically, I go to class for the week, and I think it had reached either Thursday. Yeah, it was like Thursday, and I realized that I only went to the lab for like twice, and the first time was for an hour, the second time was only 30 minutes because I forgot that I had something else to do and I had to leave. So I still had 3.5 hours I need to get done, and luckily it was I had realized this on Thursday night. Okay, so luckily I was like, that's fine, because Friday I get out at 2. I can just go get something to eat, come back at 3, and then start my hours, and I'll be done by 6:30-ish, right? Wrong. So that's what that's what I thought. So in my last class, they didn't hold us later, but I had forgot that I had a meeting to go to, so I didn't get out to like 3:30, or like 3:30-ish or 4, and I still was like, that's fine. I'll just grab me a quick snack because the vending machine was right there, and then I would get done by 7:30. And even though I knew that it would be dark by then because the sun had started setting at 7, I was like, yes, it's a little bit of a walk, but at least it's not as far as where my classes were. Just say my classes were like a 10-minute walk, this was like a 5. So I was like, I think I can make it back. Wrong. Anyway, so I thought I would be okay. So I did my hours, and I was getting kind of bored, but I was like, it's almost there. I only had like 30 minutes left. I'll be fine. So I finished the time. I did successfully, and I got out of there, and it was dark. It was very dark because it had gotten close to the winter time, so it was already dark. It was 30 minutes after the sun had set, and there was not that many lights, and it had rained that day, so it was just really gloomy and dark. Okay, so I'm walking back to the dorm, and I get to about where our union was, and I was gonna get dinner there because I wanted Chick-fil-A, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna run back. I still got about 30 minutes for dinner at the hall, like our cafeteria, and the cafeteria is right about where I stay. And then even if I didn't make that, at 9 they started selling hot food like nachos, burgers, hot dogs, chicken wraps, salad, stuff like that. They started selling that at a little convenience store right beside our hall, which again was right by our dorm. So I was like, I'll just go to that, and I'll just skip the Chick-fil-A for the night. So I get there, and I'm walking, and I get back to like where the union was, and I was already kind of nervous and on edge because, like I said, I didn't like walking back at night. But I was like, I'm gonna call my mom, and she didn't answer. I was like, freak, mama, all the times you be calling me if you want me to answer, and now I'm calling you and you're not answering. So I feel like someone was watching me. And I'm walking, I'm like, okay, like I'm good. I'm just paranoid. And I act like I was about to take a Snapchat, which to me, I feel like that was a really dumb thing, because they should have known that there was no way I'm taking a Snapchat and it's almost pitch black dark. But there was like a little bit of a street light. Like there was no way that's what I was doing. But I act like I was taking a Snapchat, kind of held my phone up to like right here. I was just like, acting like that. And when I did, I saw someone walking behind me. So I was like, okay, that's probably why I felt like I was being stared at, because someone was walking behind me. But they looked like they were just going to the union. So I was just like, that's probably where they're going. So I'm walking, and the union to my dorm was like a 2-minute walk. The only thing else I had to do was cross the street, past a dorm, like a whole dorm, and then it made to my dorms. So I was like, I'm almost there. So I get to the street light, and I'm waiting, and I realize the person is still behind me, and I was like, okay, they might still live in my dorm. And this person, they looked kind of like big, like manly. So I was like, they kind of look old, but I can't really see their face because it's dark. So I'm walking, I'm so close to the light that like separates that I have to cross the street, I'm waiting on the light so I can walk. And I realized he was like behind me, and I hear like a grumble, like, hey, hey. Like, I don't know, that's how it sounded. Anyway, that's what I hear. And I did not turn around. And so at this point, I was like, I need to call someone, because I was very paranoid and very scared. So I was like, I need to call someone. So I tried to call my sister. She didn't answer. Tried to call my husband now, or boyfriend at the time. He didn't answer. Everyone was not answering. And I was like, oh my gosh, please, someone answer me. I'm scared. No one was answering. So at this point, the guy started speed walking with me, and I was like, okay. So I'm crossing the street real fast. I was not even caring my car was coming. And he is speed walking with me. So I'm like, maybe he just ran across the street too. So then we passed like this all guy dorm. He doesn't go there. And I'm like, okay, should I go in my dorm? Because I really don't want him to know where I live. But then again, because you can't get in anyone else's dorm without, if you don't live there. Like, you can't get the entrance. They have to open it up. The whole dorm, what's it called? Hall. Yeah, the hall. I think that's what it's called. You can't get in someone else's like hall, their building. So in order for me to open up the doors to that, I had to have lived there. So I was like, I don't know if I should do that. So he's still walking, but at this point, my building was on like this side of the road, and he like crossed over, but he went to the other side of the road. But he was still walking the same pace as me. And I'm like, I don't know why he's doing that, but maybe he's like trying to get away. So I'm like, freak it. I'm not gonna sit here and just walk to I think the sorority houses were like a little bit farther. I'm like, I'm not gonna go there and hope that someone would like be like, can I come in? This person is kind of weird. I'm just gonna make it in, because even if like he knows where I live, he's not gonna know what floor or room. So I was just like, I'm just gonna do it. So I go in my building, and when I go in my building, I close the door as fast as possible. But please tell me why, as I'm closing this door, this man is sprinting across the street to get in the door. But I had that thing closed, honey. And I was like, that man was literally trying to get to me. So they're trying to get to me, because I was like, if he lived here, he would just open the door. He did not. He didn't bang on the door, be like, I need to get in. This is where I live. I forgot my ID. Nah, he just left after like a little bit of like looking in the door, looking at me. And I was like, this man was trying to get my goodies. Girl, I was scared. But anyway, yeah. So I made it safely. I was kind of shook for the rest of the night, but I was good. I get to my room, and when I try to call all those people again, they answer. So I guess I just need a scare. I don't know, because I don't understand why they didn't answer me at first. I told you there was gonna be 2 stories, but it's actually 3, because I forgot about the other one. And I don't understand how I forgot about this one. I think because I kind of get it mixed up with the one I just told, but no, this is another story. And I don't understand why things like this happen to me. Anyway, so the second story, which is still not the worst of the worst, I am at the college that I'm at, and it was when me and my mom had just dropped me off for college, and I got there like 2 weeks before school started, and my mom had dropped me off, and then she had went back to where I lived, and then she had came back to finish some like paperwork and stuff that I needed. So she had left for the day, and she had told me, it was daytime by the way, she had told me, she was like, okay, after you finish this, go to your like financial building and finish this up, because I gotta go, and then you'll be set. That's what I did. And I was coming back to my dorm, and I didn't get lost, but I was kind of looking around, because I had just gotten there. And it was kind of empty, because most people were still getting there, because I was a freshman, so they made a freshman come first. So like, I was like, people were still trying to get there. I'm walking back to my dorm, and I feel someone behind me again. This time, this dude was like, hey, 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 hey. And I was not dealing with it. He was like, hey, 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 you in the dress, I was still walking, still not dealing with it. I was kind of mad, I think. I can't remember, but I think I was mad at the time. So I really was not one to talk, not one to even entertain none of that mess. So I kept walking, and he was like, hey, 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 stop right now. And he was like, come on now, stop. And so I turned around. I'm like, okay, I didn't do that. I turned around and just like, what? And so he was like, he was short, and he did have the look of like a college student, but some of his mannerisms and the things that he wore made him look older. Okay. So anyway, he's like, hey, like, can I get your number? Can I get your number? I was like, no, I am in a relationship. He was like, no, please, let me get your number, blah, blah, blah. You want to have friends? So I play the, like, no, they won't. Like, you can't even have a friend, can't have a friend. So at this point, I started walking again, and he was trying to get as close as he can to me. He had like a bike, and he had a backpack on, and he was trying to get as close as he could to me, and I was just walking as fast as possible. And he was like, come on, give me your number. And I had remembered, I was like, at that split second, I remembered the story I heard about that college girl that had gotten like hurt, seriously hurt, because she denied a dude her number and told him to leave her alone after like a bunch of times. And it was only like 2 or 3 people around, but he claimed she embarrassed him, and that's why he seriously hurt her. So that's why I was like, so I don't know why it came to me at that time, but when it did, it kind of gave me a moment like, you need to do something. Because if you just keep saying no, and he's literally getting like inches away from you as you're trying to walk, and he's just walking fast as possible, it's not going to turn out good. So I gave him my mom's number because that's the first thing that came to my head, and I knew I could talk to my mom about it later. So I gave him my mom's number, and he was like, oh yeah, what's your name? And I told him a fake name, of course. And he was like, well, thank you. I'll see you later. And when I turned around to finally say something to this guy, he had his hand in his backpack, and that's what kind of scared me a lot. Anyway, so I get home, like to my dorm. I tell my roommate, I tell my mom this whole encounter. I told my mom I gave him her number. She's like, you did the right thing. That is perfectly fine. A couple days passed by. And when I mentioned about the security that my school has in place because it's so big, this is what I'm talking about. So they have an app that we could download when orientation was like first started, and they told us about it that basically it would give you alerts when like burglaries, murders, any of that like bad stuff, or just armed and dangerous people were around campus, in campus, or something like that, or they had just heard that they were close by. So like they'll be like, there was a robbery on, just say like 14th Street, which is like right off the college like road. So I was just like, oh, okay, you know, this is cool, it's a good app. And a couple days had passed, and I'm walking back to my room, and I get a little ding on my phone, let me know that there was a like message coming about a new crime that just had been committed, or someone that they were looking for, or something like that. So I didn't really look at it. I was trying to get back to my dorm. But when I got back to my dorm, my roommate was like, girl, they had just found this guy who has been like stalking and messing and harassing women that went to our college, at either on campus or at like the little college bars and stuff they had. And I was like, girl, what? So I go and I try to go look at my phone, and the picture is loading because the person, whoever had like made the tip to the security at our college, they had snapped a small like blurry picture of him. And so I look and my jaw drops. My blood runs cold because it was that man. And they were asking to find him because they said he was considered dangerous because he seemed like he wanted to hurt one of the girls that denied him. They like split out denied him. And then they also showed like in the picture he had his hand in that backpack. So I don't know what was in that backpack. I don't know if they ever found them, because they don't really say if they find them, but they sometimes do, you know. So I don't know if they ever found them or nothing, but I was on edge. I was like, that could have been way worse than it was. I don't know why that story of that girl that got hurt came up to my head, but I don't know, maybe it kind of saved me. I don't know. I'll never know. But yeah, it was crazy. The last one, this one is kind of crazy. Yeah, so buckle up. That's why I put my little blanket on, because this one, So this one includes my roommate. I'm not going to say her parts in the story because that's her story to tell, but I'm going to say what I encountered with this problem. So it starts off with my roommate, and she had went to a summer program, and she had saw this guy, and this guy wanted her. she kind of dissed him, and then he kind of didn't want to take no for an answer, but he dropped it, and that was it. Okay, there's more, definitely more to the story, but that's all I'm gonna say because that's not really my business. I just wanted to put in how we knew him. Okay, so she tells me the story, and when we go to our little fun little activities that they have before school starts, like they had like a little, you know, like phone party and stuff like that. When we go to them, she points them out to me and she's like, that's the dude. We're gonna call him Chris. She's like, that's the dude, that's Chris right there. Like, he's kind of woo woo. And so then I was like, all right, you know, whatever. So school starts. It's first day of school. Monday comes. I like all my classes. I'm telling her I love my classes, blah blah blah. And she's like telling me, she's like, yeah, I like my classes too. And I don't know if most people don't know, but college runs on like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday type schedule. At least mine did. And it also could run where like night classes, or you can have a class just on one day of the week, or just on 2 days a week, or the whole week, or something like that, right? So this specific class I only had on one day of the week, and that was Wednesday, and that was the class that ran late, which is why I couldn't finish my lab hours in the first story. And it ran from 3 to I think 5:30 or 6 or something like that. Okay, so that, and like you could only take it at that time, and it was a class only for freshmen. So like since it was a class only for freshmen, it wasn't that many of us, and therefore they only did it on Mondays and Wednesdays, one time out a week, for I think it was like a 2-hour class and stuff like that. And it was mostly at night, and so that's why I had to take it close to the end, and I couldn't take it in the morning. I get to the Tuesday classes, I'm doing good. Wednesday comes, and I get to almost all my classes. I meet back up with my roommate. I'm telling her about it, and we're like, oh, this is great. We're having a good time. At this point, we're like, we know basically everyone that's gonna be in our classes except for whoever's gonna be in this last class. So we're just saying, like, I really like my teachers, like my classes, everything like that. And we go to our last class. And then I think it was like a total of 20 people in that class, which is kind of small for college classes if you don't know. So I see the dude that my friend told me about, and so he kind of sits kind of far away, but I was like, he don't know me, and I act like I don't know him, and everything be fine. So when I get back to my room, I'm like, girl, guess who was in my class? And she's like, who? And I said, it's Chris. And so she was like, oh my God, Chris is in your class? I'm like, yes. And so anyway, she was like, he's cuckoo, but whatever. So, and so that kind of is the end of that. So then I would say about a week or two passed, and I kind of noticed that I kind of got stares from him, but it wasn't too big of a deal. And then I know that me and my roommate hung out a lot. We went to dinner and lunch all the time, but I never really saw him at our like cafeteria. But I mean, it's a huge cafeteria, so you never know. Obviously he saw us. So apparently Chris has saw us at some point and knew that we were roommates. I don't know what information he had got from that, but he knew that we were roommates. So I'm chilling, I'm in class, and they're asking us about like sweet things roommates or families or friends have done for us in the past couple months. And I just want to point out about how cool my roommate was, and how she had bought me a cactus, which I know that sounds weird, but she had bought me a cactus, which I had really liked, and a lemon butt cake. And I love lemon butt cakes, but we're not gonna get into that. Anyway, she had bought me that for like a sweet little small birthday present. And I was talking about it. I was like, I love my cactus, blah, 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 that my roommate bought me. Everyone's like, oh, that's cool, you know, that's sweet. I'm glad that your roommate gets along with you and things like that. So when I'm telling my story to the class, and Chris is like, oh, did you like that cactus? Huh? That your roommate got you? Oh, really? Well, and then I'm just like, yeah. Like, I'm talking to the class, and like he stopped me and asked me that. I'm like, yeah, you know, just whatever. So I continue telling my story, everything like that. And after I finish and then move on to the next person, he kind of turns around and he's like sitting like in front and over. So he kind of like turns around and he like switches seats and he was like, so your roommate brought you that cactus? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, cool. Kind of turned back around. I said, that's weird. That's suspicious. But anyway, I kind of let it go. So I go back and I tell her that news, and she's like, that's weird. So anyway, time passes again, and there was like other instances that were really small that happened that he was being very weird and stalkerish. And there's a time where it was raining and we were coming back to the dorms, and he was like following behind me. And there's this girl who I was friends with, but I hadn't became friends with her yet in that class. I had became friends with her like a week. I had like knew her, we had talked a little bit, but we became actual friends like a week after this, okay? So anyway, she's like walking back behind me because we were close by each other in dorms, and he's like, hey, you want this umbrella? He's talking to her. He's like, hey, you want this umbrella? And she's like, no thanks. And he was like, yeah, you need to get into this umbrella. That's what he tells her, like, you need to get under this umbrella with him, this small little travel size umbrella, y'all. And so she just kind of was like, nah, I'm good. And he's like, where do you stay? And she was still not kind of feeling it, but she was like, I just stay over there at Tree Hall. I just said that. And he's like, oh, I stay close by too. I'll walk you there. And so she was like, no thanks. And he was like, no, it'll be all right. You don't need to get wet. And so like he's walking there and he was like, you stay in Tree Hall? Isn't that right by Lip Gloss Hall? Lip Gloss Hall is my hall. And so, in my roommate's hall. And so I was, so he was like, she was like, I think so. You know, kind of like, why you ask me that? And so then he was like, oh, all right, that's cool. And like they're right behind me, like that's how I can hear them talking. And he was like, I think I'm gonna drop by Lip Gloss Hall right quick because I know people there. That's what he says. So he's following behind me like with the girl, and so the girl's like, okay, that's cool. And she like kind of just leaves because she's like, thank the Lord he's not trying to walk me back. So he's following behind me. He gets to Lip Gloss Hall with me, open the door, and he like tries to come in behind me. But I closed that door right behind me. I was like, nah, if you gonna get in, bro, you gonna get in with your car, because I knew he didn't live there. And so he kind of looked at me and I just ran into my, like upstairs to my dorm or whatever. So next day or the next Wednesday that I saw him, he was like, why you didn't let me in? That's what he tells me in class. And I was like, because technically, if you don't know the person, you have to let someone else in your hall. Like, that's what the whole rule is in our hall. And so he was like, well, I have friends there. I was like, so you should just call your friends so they can let you in. Duh. But yes, honey. So anyway, fast forward a little bit more. My roommate becomes friends with this girl. And me and my roommate are eating lunch. And this girl comes up to us. And she's like, okay, you remember Chris that we met and saw and you told me about? And she's like, yes. And she's like, well, I had a bad experience with him. And so we was like, what happened? So she says that she's walking back to her car because she had to go to the doctor, and she's like getting in her car to go to the doctor. I'm sorry. She's getting in her car to go to the doctor, and she had parked it over there by our gym type place, you know? And he was like getting out. And so he like comes up to her. He's like, I'm gonna call the girl. I'm gonna call the girl Maria. He walks up to Maria and he's like, hey, can you give me a ride to the dorms? And she's like, oh, sorry, Chris, no, I have to be somewhere. And so he was like, and it wasn't that far of a walk at all. He was like, oh, well, I just hurt my ankle. And he starts to limp. Like, he literally is walking fine and just immediately starts to limp, just straight up the line. And he tried to Ted Bundy her, y'all. He tried to Ted Bundy her. Like, he sat there talking about some, I hurt my leg, let me in your car. Like, huh? So this one, she was like, no, can't do it. Now, this part, I do not know if it's completely true. I don't want to put accusation on someone that I don't really know because I don't know the full story. But basically, at some point, he kind of assaulted her because he put his hands on her and was kind of like, whatever, and like grabbed her kind of hard and let her go and walked off. Like I said, I don't know if that's fully true. I don't know the whole meaning of the story, but she said she was so scared. She got in her car, she reported him. No one did anything about it, and that was that. And at this point, she was just like, you need to stay away from him because he's crazy. So he gets Maria's Instagram and he's trying his best to contact her. He's like, listen, you little bee, I'll come and do all this stuff. Like he's like talking to her crazy. And then afterwards he deactivates his account so it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show his name or anything like that. And his name on Instagram wasn't like his name. You know what I mean? It's not a lie. And well, I don't know if it's a lie, but he said that he didn't do none of that stuff when confronted. So yeah. And after that, me and my roommate was like, this is crazy. We kind of told our parents, like, this man, I don't know what his objectives are. Why can't he just be a normal college student? This man is acting crazy. At this point, I had my taser on deck. My pepper spray on deck. So if you try to pull your little stunt that you did on Marie, you gonna get perp. Anyway, for my first year of college, all this happened. It was crazy. Try to get a little lighter in here, even though I'm done with the story now. That's basically what happened. I didn't really hear too much from about that guy for a little bit after that. But yeah, we did continue to the class together, but we finished the class and I never saw him too much ever again. And now I no longer go there, so it doesn't really matter. But just to say, be careful out there, ladies, because these people are crazy. I'm not even saying just men, because women are crazy as well. Just be careful. That's on per. And there's like way other stories. I have a lot of college stories, so if you want to hear them, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching this long video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and bye.